Welcome to Komatsu's Operational Tips and Procedures series of videos. Today we're going to illustrate the proper method to ensure your supplemental steering systems are functioning properly. So let's get started. After completing the pre-shift inspection on the truck, we are ready to check the secondary steering. There are two checks to make on the secondary steering. The first check is the manual check, to ensure all components associated with the secondary steering are functioning properly. And the second is the auto check, to ensure the secondary steering will activate as designed. There are several parameters that must be met prior to performing the checks on the secondary steering. The gear selector must be in the neutral position, with the park brake activated. Now, push the horn. We press the horn to alert ground personnel that we are about to start the truck. Allow 10 seconds for ground personnel to move away from the truck. Then turn the ignition switch on and start the truck. At this point, no alarm should be activated, and the steering oil pressure level must be above the proper threshold. Now that these parameters have been met, we can continue with the secondary steering checks. At this point, we must turn the ignition switch to the off position, thus turning the engine and truck off. Once the engine has stopped running, we can now complete the manual secondary steering check. Turn the ignition switch to the on position. Do not start the engine at this point. Push the secondary steering switch to the on position. At this point, you will see the red warning light in the secondary steering switch turn on, along with an audible alarm. Check the steering for input. If there is input, the test is complete. Now you must push the secondary steering switch again to disengage it or turn it off. Use caution. Do not allow the secondary steering to operate for more than 90 seconds, as there is a potential for the secondary steering pump to overheat. If there is no input felt, then shut the truck down and contact your Komatsu distributor for assistance. Now that we've checked the manual secondary steering, we must check the auto secondary steering. When checking the auto secondary steering, the gear selector must be in neutral with the park brake set. The ignition key must be in the on position with the truck not running. The steering oil pressures must be achieved. Now we can check the auto secondary steering. Apply the retarder handle on the steering column. This allows the truck to have braking capability while the parking brake is released. Keep the truck in neutral. Release the parking brake. Within 1 second of releasing the parking brake, the auto secondary steering will activate. At this point, you will check for steering input. If there is input, then all is good. If there is no input or the auto secondary steering does not activate, apply the parking brake and call your Komatsu distributor for assistance. Once the auto secondary steering has been activated and is functioning correctly, we must again activate the park brake, which will turn the auto secondary steering off. At this point, we can release the retarder lever and start the truck for operation. In conclusion, there are two secondary steering checks to perform. The first is the manual check, and the second is the auto check. These checks are performed to ensure all systems are functioning correctly. These checks allow the operator to achieve safe, efficient production while operating Komatsu HD465-8 and HD605-8 series trucks. If you have any questions in regards to this training segment, please reference your Komatsu operational manual in the cab of your truck, or contact your Komatsu distributor for further assistance. Thank you for choosing Komatsu products.